Welcome into the Thursday show. I am your host, and I'm going to be honest, I have like 40% energy today. But there's a lot I want to talk about. We are now on day number 8 of the government shutdown, and the Democrats are continuing to disrupt the world and cost people money, livelihood, and it's not good. Not good. I've yet to see one argument or one person make the anti what is being said about the Democrats rather than just blaming what the Republicans are saying, which is sort of the typical politician route here. So we have a couple stories we want to talk about. Uh, First, I have to sort of admit a mistake I made the other day, and a mistake that I think a lot of people are making, but will not really take full accountability to. Um, does it make me better to take myself accountable for it? No, it doesn't. But I think it's important that if you're going to produce content like this or any sort of content, that taking accountability for when you make mistakes or when you say things that are wrong, it's important to readjust it. So, what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Kyren Lacy, who was the black uh, LSU, Louisiana State University football player who was reportedly under arrest and investigation for negligent homicide, I believe is what it was, where he wasn't indirectly the reason of, he wasn't the cause of someone dying, but he was definitely the sort of the reason is what was being spread. And rumors and video came out of him essentially what looked like it was clearing his name because it looked like he was not really at fault of the accident. In fact, at the time of the crash, he was 71 yards away from the vehicle. So you're like, oh, that's obviously not um, really there to be the reason. So everyone had sort of cleared him and made it seem as if he wasn't. He was just wrongly prosecuted, and he ended up taking his life for an unrelated incident later down in between the timeline. But some new footage has resurfaced that essentially doesn't really clear him as easy as we might have thought. In fact, it sort of shows the opposite. Moments before the video start of what the lawyer had said, there's a video of him on the oncoming side of traffic, speeding very recklessly down the road, and it's very apparent that if you were in the oncoming lane, you could have very easily gotten distracted or frightened or spooked if you saw what Mr. Lacey was doing at that time. So I just want to make a quick little uh, uh, clarification on it that I think I might have jumped the gun. I think a lot of people jumped the gun with saying that it was just cut and dry. Oh, he was innocent. This is again why I always say that a lot of times things aren't racist. Things are stupid, and it looks like there's a lot of stupid things going on in this situation. So we'll keep updated as far as the stories go, as far as what's actually happening and how it all progresses, if we even do get any more clarification on this. But I am seeing a lot of people sort of backdrop and apologize from what they initially post. And speaking of backdrop and backpedaling from things that were supposed to be posted, I want to talk about Jay Jones, who Jay Jones is currently running for Attorney General in Virginia. He's a Democrat Attorney General candidate. John Jay Jones has taken a hit in the polls following the release of text messages he sent fantasizing about the Republican former state House Speaker being shot in the head. Now, you read that headline and you're like, whoa, all right. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. This is where the Republicans and Democrats sort of flip flop in my mind as far as how they handle it. Okay, because the Republicans are saying that. Let me read you the text first. Okay, so the text essentially read that he says this. He says, 3 people, 2 bullets. Gilbert, Hitler, and Pol Pot. Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. And then he says, spoiler. Gilbert in the crew with the 2 of the worst people, and he receives both bullets every time. And so, look, here's the thing: is this guy calling for the former speaker to be assassinated and be killed? Absolutely not. Are the Democrats hiding this and wanting to make it look like it goes away? Yeah, and they're looking as if like Jay Jones came out and apologized. But here's something that is so confusing to me about this. Okay, um, I've made this exact joke, not about these 3 people, but I've made this exact joke before. Chances are you know someone who made this exact joke before. Now, how do I know that? Because it is a very famous joke from the television show The Office. And here's my point about it. Why do Democrats not just say that? Why don't Democrats come out and say, yeah, it was a dumb thing to say. We all do dumb things, but look, it's a joke from one of the most famous shows of recent, not recent time, but of all time in America. This is a Michael Scott joke to Toby, where he says if Michael Scott, if Toby, Hitler, and Bin Laden were in a room and he had a gun with 2 bullets, he'd shoot Toby twice. It's funny. Right, I understand you're making a joke about someone who's on the opposite side of the political party than you, but both sides are so disingenuous about this. Republicans need to stop acting like he literally called for this guy to be murdered, and Democrats should stop being cowardly and hiding from it and just come out and say, "Hey, look, this is what it's from. This is probably what he meant." That's what I would say. Heck, I would even ask Jay Jones if that's what he was. Hey, are you referring to that famous joke from The Office? And he'll be like, yes. And it's like, okay, he's just making a joke. So I don't know. It's hard. It's one of those things where it's like you can't really you can't have your cake and eat it too all the time in political sides of things. You have to admit that you're wrong sometimes. You have to admit that the other side is not as terrible as they are from time to time. But speaking speaking of things that are terrible from time to time, let's go over and talk about our new favorite Democrat Party person, Katie Porter. Now, look, here's the thing. Much like Jay Jones, Katie Porter did not have a fun week this past week because she quit an interview where the interviewer, who's an investigation journalist, asked a very simple question. For those of you who don't know, Katie Porter is running for governor of California, and so she asked if how she would try to sway the votes of the Republicans in her state or the people who voted for Trump. And she got pretty offended by it and was like, you know, why would I need to swing their votes? I don't need to swing their votes. I can just have the Democrat votes. I don't need to worry. And it's sort of this hole that the Democrat Party has buried themselves in because it's not they can't answer that question in the response of like how can we convert Republicans to the Democrat because they've spent the last 9 years making it seem like the Republicans are just the dumbest, unintelligent, uninformed morons of the country. And so, how are you going to be a party that speaks like that and then try to convert them to your side? Now, here's something that I think is really important also to remember is that on Republicans or Democrat side, I would want a person who wants people from the other side, right? So what I mean, I guess, is like if a Democrat were to come out and answer that question and be more like, we have to appeal to what the Republicans want, and I see what they want. They want uh, the way of good old fashioned America. They want picket fence. They want family time. They want religion. Okay, how can we convince them that the horizon includes that in our future with a Democrat as the leader? But they've double, triple, quadrupled down on the idea that if you're a Republican and you support Trump, you are the worst kind of person. So how are you going to get positive conversion on that type of person? But anyway, I want to talk more specifically about her. She had the interview where she walked away, but then a video resurfaced of her where she's given this speech. The speech is on electric admissions, I think, and and she gives this speech and she says, "Get out of my effing shot" to her. I don't know if it's her assistant or who is some. It's just labeled as some staffer at the time. And now, look, if you went to work and you acted like that, you would probably lose your job. If you went to a school board meeting or a church service, or you went somewhere and you acted like that, you would probably be asked to leave. Okay. I'm not excusing the behavior of this clearly very angry woman, right? I'm not. But, you know, we all get frustrated. We all have bad days. When you're on the Democratic side of things, you're always on the wrong. So you're coming from a standpoint of always being wrong. So she's got to deal with having to somehow find a way to spew her opinions in a way that makes it look right. And things just boil over. Now, look, being in the shot of the camera, I don't really know how big of a deal that is. I don't even know if it's that big of a deal, but nevertheless, I understand the frustration, but it's pretty funny to just kind of see her behavior be that of you know, an angry, frustrated middle school girl. So I think it's kind of funny to see. So that's pretty much where I'm going to leave the stories at today. A little bit of a shorter video today. It's just I had a bit of a rough night, rough go of it. And I almost didn't make the episode, but there's too many things I did want to talk about. So we'll continue to talk about things. We'll talk about the peace deal tomorrow when I have a little bit more energy, and that is sort of digested and developed over the day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Make sure to open up your Bibles and study and read and get a little bit closer to God. And I will see you all tomorrow. Be kind to each other, be nice to each other, forgive and forget. And I will see you all later.